Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project and Magnetic Reversal News, bringing you a magnetic excursion update Thursday, January 9th, around 9:30 p.m. Mountain Time 2024. A major winter storm named Cora is going to affect dozen-plus states. Winter storm watches and warnings are up. Freeze warnings for South Texas, freeze warnings for South Arizona, freeze warnings for southern Georgia as well as Florida, and we have devastation in Southern California to talk about. Keep calm. It's boom time. Firefighters are making progress slowing the wildfires while Los Angeles grapples with the scope of devastation. The devastation is unbelievable. More than 10,000 homes and buildings have burned down between the Eaton and Palisades fire as the death toll rises to 7. That number will go much higher as we see scenes like this where entire communities have been completely obliterated in less than 24 hours. And again, the devastation in the Palisades is unbelievable. We now have 5 fires currently burning. The good news is that some of them are being put out and many of them are being contained. With less than 6% containment on the Palisades fire, we still have mandatory evacuations for many regions. The Palisades fire is currently being clocked at 20,000 acres burned. The Eaton fire, 14,000 acres burned. We now have the Kenneth fire. Where is that at? Maybe it's this one. We now have the Kenneth fire, could be this one up to the north here, 1,000 acres. The Hearst fire at 671, and the Lydia fire at 348 acres burn. All told, we're looking at 30, about 35,000 acres burned with over 10,000 homes destroyed. We're not out of the woods yet. The wind will be picking up overnight, but by tomorrow night, we should be in more favorable territory to get a hold on all these fires. The bad news is that 10,000 plus homes have been destroyed completely. Our thoughts, hearts, and prayers go out to all those affected. I hope you're staying out of the evacuation areas. And many looters have already been busted. So don't think you're going to come up here and find a Rolex or something like that. That's just pure stupidity. Pray for the people in LA County. Potent winter storm is now strengthening. Winter storm Cora as it treks across the south, threatening some extreme impacts. And in fact, the most extreme impacts will be just east of Dallas-Fort Worth and north of Louisiana in southern Arkansas. The purple regions are extreme potential winter storm impacts. And that means snow, ho, ho, ho. If you can see any area in that purple, that's a foot or more. So we have a wide region for this storm raging from Oklahoma through Arkansas that's going to be picking up heavy snow over the next 48 hours, hours of powers. And as far as the fires in the West, this was earlier today, 416 without power. Let's refresh this, see where we're at now. So a much better situation about 12 hours later at 287, but still with the power off, many of the standpipes are not functioning. A quick look at worldwide volcano news. We will see a quick look at the GFS model, and we will see that winter storm Corey really developing right now and some severe weather popping up in southern Texas. This severe weather threat for the next 6 hours is going to move east into Louisiana. So it's going to be a rough night. We could see tornado warnings popping up, but the good news by afternoon tomorrow, the severe weather threat will be over. But the winter storm warning won't be over. The winter storm will make its trek across the southern U.S. through the weekend Saturday and then move offshore Saturday night into Sunday morning. Take a look at the total snowfall based on several models. This is the current GFS model showing a heavy swath of snow, a foot or more for North Texas, southeastern Oklahoma, southern Arkansas there, and portions of Alabama. Can you believe that? We'll see if these numbers stay true. Let's look at some other versions. Here's the CMC, much less snow showing up there. This is probably way more realistic, and I think the major snow swath that we just looked at is in this region. It's going to be 6 to 12 inches for Oklahoma, north of Dallas-Fort Worth, and through Arkansas. Quick look at the icon. It's going to give us the lowest number of snow, and it's not going to give us anything. Let's go total snowfall. Yeah, the icon just is not working. So if we move back here to the GFS model, you can see that storm rapidly moving to the east. It's going to be bringing snow to over 20 states, including Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, Pennsylvania, all of the Northeast. And another clipper here will kick off the lake effect snow shortly after that. And by the third week of January, the snow pattern continues. The big winner is going to be the East Coast and the lake effect snow. Ho, ho, ho. Shut up, Al. Get in your hole. Al Gore is not happy with this snowfall forecast. Critical fire weather conditions over Southern California continue as a winter storm named Cora is going to impact the southern U.S. High winds and low relative humidity will continue to support critical fire weather conditions in Southern California through Friday. Red flag warnings remain in effect. Good news is by tomorrow afternoon, air support will be able to pummel the fires. A winter storm is expected to bring snow from southeast Oklahoma through western North Carolina through Saturday. Snow will transition to sleet and freezing rain across the Arklatex through the southeast into the mid-Atlantic. And take a look at how many states. Look at the size of this storm. Frost and freeze warnings for southern Arizona. Frost and freeze warnings in effect for southern Texas. Take a look at this county here in southern New Mexico. An extreme cold warning has been issued. And frost and freeze warnings out for South Georgia as well as North Florida. I'm sure you're feeling the chill down there in Miami. And this is all because La Nina has arrived, according to the experts. And here's what that means for you. Well, according to the experts, it's supposed to be warmer and drier in the southeast. That's the exact opposite of what's happening. So maybe they don't know much about anything. The mainstream is claiming that the 3-month temperature outlook January through March is well above average for the southeast, but the next few weeks shows none of that. So maybe they don't know what they're talking about, which is probably what's the case. If we come over to the latest ENSO El Nino La Nina report, which just came out the other day, you can see that they're predicting the same things, that for the next at least 6 months, we will be in La Nina, and we are currently in La Nina. We won't emerge out of it until maybe May, June, or July. But based on the forecast for La Nina, it absolutely does not match up. So what we should all glean from this is that the mainstream climate scientists don't know anything. Their models are garbage. And, well, you know how we can prove it? Take a look at this fucking map. And more bad news coming out from across the pond. 2 dead and flights canceled as a snowstorm batters parts of Europe. The UK has been buried, and it's not over in any sense of the word. Winter is just beginning as the UK braces for more. In fact, minus 20 C or minus 4 Fahrenheit situation here. UK bracing for minus 20 C. Scotland is bracing for a hard freeze, the hardest in decades, perhaps ever, with temperatures in the Highlands forecast to drop to minus 20 C Thursday night. That's now. Dalwhinnie near the Cairngorms is forecast to hit minus 18 C, with the likes of Altanada possibly dipping below minus 20 C. How do you like them apples? It is worldwide in the Northern Hemisphere. Speaking of worldwide, Seismic update. No quakes of note, normal activity. We've got a 5.8 in El Salvador at 100 kilometers. Almost nobody felt that. Some activity in Hawaii, continuing with a 3.1. Cluster of quakes here in the frac-prone area of Toya, Texas, where deep well injection continues to fracture the earth and create man-made earthquakes. East African Rift has quieted down, largest quake of the day, just 4.5. As we transition over to worldwide volcano news, very few volcanoes erupting today, including Fuego to 15,000 feet, Santiaguito to 15,000. Ibu, beautiful catch there, near constant eruptions persisting at Ibu. Semeru, who knew? Now you do. Actively growing lava dome, occasional eruptions going on there. Ibu to 9,000 feet. Reventador, possible volcanic ash happening today. Semeru to 14,000 feet. Fuego to 15. Swanasima exploded, 4,000-foot puff there. Semeru, 14,000-foot blast. Santiaguito to 15. Reventador to 15. Ibu to 7. Popo to 19. Fuego to 15. Nevado de Ruiz, 21,000-foot puff. Liwatobi to 9. And wrapping up the list is Nevado de Ruiz. No volcanic ash has been seen. A quick look over at space weather at Solarham for January 9th and 10th shows very low-level activity as far as flaring for the last 48 hours. 3-day geomagnetic forecast is all quiet and just a few sunspots about to turn away. Nothing significant is imminent. Telemetry looks good. And more space weather coming out from the new scientist here, Bepi Colombo. Spacecraft is due to start orbiting Mercury next year, but a recent flyby has captured breathtaking images of Mercury's pock-marked surface. And interestingly enough, these craters look very similar to the moon, with a central high prominence and circular features. Beautiful shots there from Bepi Colombo. And more science coming out. NBC News is writing, scientists drill nearly 2 miles down to pull a 1.2 million-year-old ice core from Antarctica. Analysis of these ancient ice cores is expected to show how Earth's atmosphere and climate have evolved. The good news is we continue to get more ice cores, which means higher resolution climate data in the future. An international team of scientists have announced Thursday they're successfully drilled one of the oldest ice cores ever, penetrating nearly 2 miles or 2.8 kilometers into the Antarctic ice to reach, it says into the Antarctic bedrock to reach ice, they say is 1.2 million years old. That sounds the opposite of what's true, but we're talking about science writers here, and they never tell the truth. But we'll have more on this as the story develops. Do you know about the Cincinnati tablet? Well, lots of Native American history has been obscured, including the entire mound-building society. Did you know there were more than 1 million pyramid-like structures east of the Mississippi? And the majority of them have been bulldozed and are lost to humanity. Luckily, there is a book that categorized all of them over 100 years ago, and it still exists. And some of the artifacts found in these mounds and pyramids include this one we're looking at here, the Cincinnati tablet. Estimated to be about 2,000 years old, was discovered during the 19th century construction in downtown Cincinnati and is one of the biggest enigmas in Native American history ever, including the Adena pipe. All these artifacts coming from the mound building culture. This in particular was carved from soapstone, and it measures 5 inches in length, 3 inches in width, so it's not that big. It would literally fit in the palm of your hand. It is the most iconic prehistoric artifact yet found in downtown Cincinnati. It was recovered during the fall of 1841 when a grading team was removing a complex of human-made burial mounds near 5th and Mound Streets in Cincinnati, which today is a large UPS facility just west of Interstate 75. Now, it is my supposition that this culture is an offshoot of the Mayan and Aztec culture that made its way up into Florida, the Southwest, and even up here in the Ohio River Valley, thousands of years ago. And that's a boom to knowledge. Hit the thumbs up. It helps with the algorithm. Become a subscriber by hitting that simple subscribe button and hit the bell so you get all the notifications. Over half of you watching tonight are unsubscribed, and you could really help our channel grow by hitting that subscribe button. We would appreciate it. We love each and every one of you. Be safe, and that's a boom. Pray for everyone in LA County.